Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back with a new process video for the Hip Kit Club, and this layout is made using the 2018 May Hip Kits. Now my assignment for today is to create a project focusing on the Vicki Boutin stamps and the dies that come with the stamps and her paints. And so I thought I would just do a little bit of practice here with the stamps and see how they looked. And I pulled out the Distress Oxides that we've gotten over the past several months in color kits and just did a little bit of playing here. I wanted to see what they look like. And then I tried it with the Vicki Boutin paints. I just squirted a little bit on my finger and then kind of coated the stamp. And it's a totally different look than the ink. So you can basically use paints or inks with the stamps. It just depends on how crisp of an image you want and the look on the page that you're going for. And so I just did a little bit of playing around here in the beginning, and the stamps are all circles. Well, most of them are circles in the kits, and I love how that big solid messy circle looks there with the blue paint. And I also love the sunburst, and I love the dots. So that's basically all of them, right? But yeah, this is fun. So you can get a lot of different looks just by playing around and seeing how they look. And I love that the more you stamp it, the lighter it gets. And yeah, it's just a fun thing to do. So I did that, and then I decided to, at first, this was going to be my background. This is a really cool thing to do and easy. Looks complicated, but it's not. If you want to create sort of a marbled looking background, you saw exactly what I did there. Just squirt a couple of lines of paint close to each other and then lightly scrape through it with a palette knife, and it's going to create this really cool blended marble look. And I really want to do this again. This wound up turning into way too much. I just kept going and I basically covered the whole paper. But look how cool that looks. It's totally different than using the packaging technique or splatters or sprays. You just get a really cool blended mixed look there. And so I used all four of the paints, and then I thought, you know what, I'm not going to make this my background. I'm just going to create a messy page here and then let it dry. And then I thought I would add some stamping on top of it and then die cut out some of the circles and have sort of some messy circles with paint and stamping. So I'm using the Distress Oxides and just randomly using some of the stamps to stamp around the page. And I really love that that background. I really want to do it again. And so I hope you give that a try, because it's a whole different look than blending and smudging. This is just scraping it down. So I thought at first I wanted to add some black ink, but I don't wind up using any of the black ink. So I pulled out my trusty little Cuttlebug there that I've had for I don't even know how many years. All my plates are all scraped up because I've used them so many times. And this circle stamp set comes with 3 different size circle dies. And you could cut the circles first and then stamp inside of them, or you could do like I'm doing here and create your stamp first and then die cut it out. And so you can get lots of different sizes here and looks. So that's all I'm going to do here is cut up this background and then die cut some circles out of the areas where I stamped. And then I also decided to cut some of the areas that I didn't stamp. And so I'm going to create a circle type background. So I think this looks really cool. Got lots of different designs and colors, and I love that. So at first I wanted to use this kind of sketchy looking Heidi Swapp pink and white paper, but then I flipped it over and I really liked the stripes better. That wasn't even my intention, but I like it, so I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to just tear it and attach it to the top part of some white cardstock. So I'm going to kind of have a half and half pattern paper, half cardstock layout. And I'm going to incorporate those circles to create a background design. But I am going to do lots more mixed media first, and so to make sure my page is ready for that, I'm going to go in with some white gesso on top of the pattern paper and the cardstock because I wasn't quite sure yet what I was going to do or how much water I was going to add to it or liquid sprays or anything like that. But I'm going to use a lot of the Vicki Boutin paints that come in the color kit this month. And I had a couple random pictures that I have not scrapped yet, and I was just kind of using those for reference. But this is kind of the design I'm going to go for. And here's what I'm going to do with the paint. This is a fun technique you could try. I've been into scraping with my palette knife lately, and I guess it's just because we've been getting these paints. And I'm going to just kind of squirt a little bit underneath the pattern paper and then just scrape it down with a palette knife. And you could definitely water this down and use this with the packaging technique. I just haven't done that yet. I like to change things up and do different techniques. And so the paint, you know, it's a lot thicker, and so it scrapes really nicely. So I'm going to do some of the pink down below and a little bit of the blue up at the top. And at first, I know I say this a lot, but the process of this part of the creation of a layout like this, it looks like a big old hot mess, and yeah, but once you start to add things back on top of it and you get your picture in place, it looks a lot better. So it's one of the cases where it has to get worse before it gets better, I think. But this is the fun part, is making the mess. So to add more layers of texture and color and interest, I'm going to come in with the Distress Oxides, the peacock feathers, and I think that one's called Worn Lipstick. I think that one's from my stash. But we did get the peacock feathers in a previous color kit. And I'm just doing a little bit of smudging, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water. That's the Picked Raspberry. We did get that in a color kit. And I love to mix and match the medium. I love to get different looks and different colors and different layers of all the different colors. So now I'm going to water down some of the Picked Raspberry and use a brush to do a little bit of splattering. And I love those Distress Oxides, and I really love how they look really great with the paints. You can water down the paint just like I did right there, and again I'm going to do it with the green, and again splatter it down. Works great. So now all that's dry, and I decided to go with a black and white picture, and I printed it kind of big, and it's a cute pool picture of Paige. And I'm going to make this a very bright layout. This is one of the Heidi Swap die cut papers from the embellishment kit, and I just want to kind of have a messy layer behind the picture, but I didn't want it to be white, so I'm just going to use my finger to smudge down some of the green Vicki Boutin paint to color it up. Very easy to do. When in doubt, just use your finger. Also, Project Life cards, I'm going to use one of those as a layer as well to add another little pop of blue behind the picture. And I thought about using one of the Creative Devotion watercolor stickers there, but I felt like it just blended into the background too much, and so I didn't want to waste that sticker on this. So I'm not going to use that, but I am going to start to think about those circles. Now I felt like I needed a pop of that darker hot pink a little bit on the background, and so I'm just going to add in some of that. And the good thing about scraping down the paint really thin like this is it dries super fast. So you don't have to wait and wait and wait. Now here I am just kind of deciding where to put the circles. So this background is definitely going to be random, very messy, very just random circles, you know, that I cut, and it's going to be a summery, bright type of layout, but the background is just going to be kind of random, and that does not bother me. I'm going to go through the Amy Tan sticker sheet here, and I'm going to use some of these floral stickers, and since they're clear, I wanted them to pop off of the background, and so I'm going to go ahead and stick those to some white cardstock from my stash, and now that I've got that cut out, you can still see the true colors. So I'm going to use that as a layer to the right, and then I'm going to use another Project Life card as a layer behind the picture. It's actually white with navy blue polka dots, and then a little Simple Stories chipboard heart. And then I'm going to add more stamps, and these are, oh wait, you already knew that. That's the Vicky Booten stamps. What I was going to say was, I believe my ink pad is a dark gray color. It's not the dark black one. And I really like how this is coming together. I'm loving the colors. I wasn't going to add in any yellow, but when I added in that big floral cluster, it had some yellow in it, and then I found that little yellow banner looking die cut piece over on the left from Pretty Little Studio, and so I thought, okay, let's add some yellow in. And so it's going to wind up being very bright, very tropical colors. I'm going to add a little bit of foam to the picture to raise it up off the page. And here I go adding in the yellow. And so this was perfect because we get a sheet of these really cute Bella Boulevard yellow puffy hearts. And since I didn't add any yellow to the background, yellow accents are perfect. And so I want to make sure that they are evenly scattered around the page. And then I pulled a couple of hearts from the Amy Tangerine sticker sheet. And then I'm going to do the same thing with a couple of the birds from the sticker sheet. I'm going to put those on white cardstock so they don't just drown into the background where you can't see them. So that's a trick for the clear stickers. If you're going to use them on something dark, stick them to white paper first. That way you can see them. I'm going to add some thread. Surprise, surprise. I know. I'm pulling out the three main colors, the pink, the aqua, and the yellow. And I'm going to do what I usually do, and that's kind of tuck it underneath the side of my picture or embellishments there. And then at first I add aqua over to the left, but I'm going to wind up moving that and changing that out because I felt like it blended in too much. You couldn't really see it. Not done with the stamps yet. The background is never finished. It just keeps on going. And, you know, it just depends on when I start to add things in, I kind of see what I need to add here and there, and that's just how it goes. Now, I am going to use some of these really pretty, I believe these are from Chamel box of crayons, and then these pink ones, thickers are from crepe paper, and I'm going to mix and match those. And my title is going to be Summer Life. I can't believe I haven't used that yet. I've used the word summer about a gazillion times in my layouts, but it was summer, and that's our life over the summer. And so I thought, yeah, summer life. And when I saw the word life on that glitter navy blue thicker sheet, I thought, yeah, we'll just use that. So I'm going to start to glue everything down. Make sure it's going to stay put. That is the Scotch tacky glue inside of my bottle there. And I also went through my embellishments again and pulled out a couple more of the Pretty Little Studio die cuts. And I thought about using that pink one up at the top, but I just didn't like it there, so I wind up not using it. But I am going to use this little orange one, and I'm going to tuck it kind of under the F so it kind of sticks out. Now here's something that we've got a lot of questions about is the Creative Devotion sticker sheet, the crosses. If you have no use for the crosses, do what I'm doing here and trim them up and just use them as plus signs. And again, they really don't have a specific meaning for this layout, but I just like the pops of black and the accents that it gives. And so there's one pink one. I'm going to go ahead and use that one too. So always look at your stickers and embellishments in unique ways. You don't have to use it as is. And so it's just a good example of that. Now, I also used a couple of the little white and black phrase stickers there from Pretty Little Studio. Very versatile. They say lots of different things that could pretty much go with any type of theme. Pretty open-ended. And I love how bright and layered this turned out. Yeah, I really like that striped paper. I'm glad I wound up using that side. I thought I was going to add my journaling, but then I got distracted and decided I needed to add something underneath the picture there on top of that little banner piece that I added. And now I'm going to come in with the journaling. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add in some black splatters. And that's just some black shimmers Night Move spray from my stash, and I believe that's going to wrap it up. I did add the date, but I didn't do any stitching or anything on this layout. I didn't feel like I really needed to do it. I love the colors. This is so bright and tropical and fun and summery, and I love it. Circles are always a winner, so if you always get stuck on something, circles are a really good go-to design. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun to make. Let me know if you have any questions about the kits, the techniques, anything at all, and I'll be more than happy to answer. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great week.